What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 27 of the ControllerCast. This is your host, Andrew. I am joined today by Ursel Parker and John Wood, the worst platformer player on the planet. John,
Yeah.
how's your week going, bro?
My week's been pretty good. With the wifey being pregnant, we've been keeping it pretty chill, but we've been having fun at home. I mean, we watched all of Squid Game this week, and we'll actually be talking about that next week. So be looking forward to that. I really enjoyed it, but I'm not going to say anything else until next week. Besides that, though, I played through Bowser's Fury, which is what we're going to be talking about today. And the new season of You came out on Netflix. So really, we've just been keeping up with TV. It's been pretty boring. I got to see my parents, though. And shout out to Graham and Deidre. We got to see them and hang out with them again. So that was really good. And we had a really good time. Had a good time with my parents, too. But other than that, just been keeping it pretty chill and keeping up with TV. So what about you, though, Andrew?
Oh, it's been all right. It's been just a normal week. Got my master's class finals done, so getting those A's again, and finished Bowser's Fury on Friday after a little 30-minute play session. So finally knocked that off the backlog list, and then
start to finish 30 minutes.
Yeah, start to finish speed run.
The best
I did the entire game in 30
time.
minutes. Yeah. I'm the greatest. Other than that, weekly tradition, Nebraska stink. But this week Iowa stink, Parker. So
yeah,
how'd that go for you? How'd the railroad and Purdue Pete treat you?
I was not expecting that result, but David Bell owns the Iowa organization. He completely annihilated us. But I was actually off last week's episode because I was in Iowa visiting family. So last weekend I got to see everybody. Got to surprise my grandma for her 75th birthday. She did not expect everybody to be there, so that was fun.
That's fun.
Oh yeah! Shout out to your grandma, 75. That's lit.
That is lit.
So beautiful.
She's pretty young.
She had my dad.
Not like crazy young.
Yeah. I heard the hesitation of Parker.
Not like crazy young.
She's pretty young. Yeah.
I mean, not too
you're
terribly
23.
old. Yeah. So
yeah,
you're a grandma.
24.
You're an old man, sir.
Yes.
Ursula, what about you? How was your week?
Yeah. So no visiting no visiting grandmas or anything like that. I didn't have the honor of seeing my family this week. But I will be seeing my family next week when I come to Omaha again. But this week, yeah, same as John, watching the Game of Squids. Watched the whole thing.
Yes, the game of Squids.
Yes. Yeah, finished the whole thing. And yeah, we'll be talking about that next week. So I'll save my thoughts. But yeah, I'll say I enjoyed it a lot. And then one of my friends came into town, so we've just been I've just kind of been doing stuff with him the past few days. And what is it? So we went to Sedona actually yesterday. I can share a little bit on that. We kind of just went into the town, checked out the town, the touristy part of the town, and we wanted to do hiking. And while we were walking through town, there was this sign that showed, and Parker, you'll remember this because I know you've been to Sedona. There's a sign for the Pink Jeep tours.
I did that actually. I did that shit.
And I wanted to do that, but all the times were sold out. But the thing is, there's a sign outside of this place that said specials, $20 for the Jeep ride and $50 for a helicopter tour. And I was like, oh shit!
That is not bad.
Yeah, I was like, I would pay $50 for a helicopter tour. I was like, this is way cheaper than I thought it would be. So this dude is who's right inside the store or whatever. He's like, you guys interested in that helicopter tour? I'll like, let me tell you about the deal. And me and my friend were like, okay, yeah, like, what's going on here? And first of all, this dude was telling us he drives from Phoenix to Sedona for his commute, which is fucking insane because that is a 2.5 hour drive.
And the traffic
Uh,
can get nuts between
Yeah.
Phoenix and Sedona.
What?
So I already knew. I was like, God damn, this dude's dedicated to the craft. But anyways, I was like, going back to like the deal. He was like, yeah, so there's just something you have to do to get this price because usually it would be like 220, I think he said, like $200 for a helicopter tour. But he's like, I get it done for 50. All you have to do is go to a 2 hour meeting for a timeshare. And the second,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Oh. What is it? The 1990s?
The second I heard timeshare come out of his mouth, my brain immediately like fucking shut off because I've heard stories about people who were in like that process of like, oh yeah, like why not just go through this like 2 hour meeting for this timeshare so I can get this deal for whatever, right? But like I heard it is hell. Like these motherfuckers will like not take no for an answer. Like if you're trying to just get in there and get the deal and not sign up for the timeshare, they will hound your ass. And I heard it's an awful experience. Like people have been like, I regret that. Like I would not have taken the deal. I would have just paid full price for whatever the deal was that they were getting. So I was like, yeah, we'll think about it and just walk the fuck off.
Yeah, we'll think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Anything
Timeshares.
involving the word timeshare, you got to stay way the fuck away from.
yeah. So we just ended off doing like a hike into a canyon. Sent these guys a few Snapchats of it. It was super beautiful. Sedona's beautiful in general. But then when we were walking back, it was like kind of night time. So then we drove back to Phoenix in the night and uh finished What If last night. So that's the other thing. But that was my week. But yeah, I'm excited. And then tomorrow night or tonight actually, I'm going to the 21 Savage and J. Cole concert, which will be pretty fun.
Damn,
So I'm excited for that.
That's a pretty banging lineup.
Yeah, all I'm on. I'm ready for all I'm on.
All I'm
All
on.
I'm on.
But yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, it sounds like a pretty interesting week.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, you didn't really set me up for a very good segue. So Animal Crossing 2.0 is officially on the way. Nintendo pulled this fucking dastardly game out of the ground and revived it. I think, did you guys all watch the trailer?
I watched it.
I did not.
I didn't watch it, but I read up like articles on the like what all the additions are. Like I have a list of everything that they added, like written down.
I saw you can get coffee now. You can get coffee with your friends.
So
You can cook.
As a fan of the series, I'm going to call this the oopsie poopsie update because they just ended up adding everything that probably should have been in the game from the start. So the first big one that they teased was the coffee shop with Brewster. Brewster, the not rooster, he's a pigeon, is back. And now there's a coffee shop on the island. They're also adding the campsite, which is kind of something from the mobile game, which is kind of interesting that they're adding that finally. So it seems like it's kind of like a farmer's market of sorts. There's just like a bunch of trailers with these little shops set up. I told Jordan it was kind of like we talked about last week, it was like junk stock kind of is what it looks like. Pretty cool. Pretty nice addition. Yeah. I like having new areas. So some of the other big things is they're adding like a new island thing apart from the one you take with the plane, so you can like ride a boat with a singing motorboat salesman and that's from New Leaf, which is very interesting. So we got the New Leaf, we got the roost is back, the campsite, and then they added cooking to the game. So I guess now this is a cooking simulator. Very interesting. They also added farming to get ingredients. So I guess Farmville.
I thought that was really cool.
Farmville's back. Let's see. there were a couple other small things like gyroids from the original games, which are just like sound making like dolls, I guess you could call them. They're adding a first person mode, which is really odd, but I mean, sure, why not? And then a couple
customization of houses.
Yeah, the houses, you can actually like customize the shape of your house. You can
More
make it
storage.
Yeah, and new furniture. The froggy chair is back. Hell yeah. More hairstyles. They got new fencing. You got more reactions. New KK Slider album is dropping. Album of the year 2021.
Yeah. That's absolutely
and then just like
all this.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. And they did really add like a whole lot of quality of life updates, which I really was looking forward to, because now you can like invite villagers to come hang out at your house. You can put permanent ladders in, so you don't have to use that stupid ladder every time you need to go up and down.
But villagers can also just enter unannounced.
Yeah, they can just like drop by and you're like, taking a hit
it's
off
really
your
cool
gyroid,
though.
Taking a hit off your gyroid bong, and they just trounce right in. And then they added ordinances from New Leaf, which I really like, because they're kind of like they kind of dictate how the game goes. So there's 4 different ones you can do: Beautiful Island, Early Bird, Night Owl, or Bell Boom. So basically what they are is it just dictates how the villagers and how the island acts in the game. So the Beautiful Island one, I don't really know what they're going to do with that, because the whole premise of that one was that flowers don't like get destroyed, but you can't destroy flowers in the game anyways. But they have like Early Bird and Night Owl, which depending on which one you choose, your villagers will be more active earlier in the day or later at night. And then Bell Boom, which just kind of juices the in-game bell system, which really helps, get some of that money, that shmoney. And then the big ish, the second biggest thing besides how big the update is that they're releasing a paid DLC for the game, which is very interesting. Animal Crossing game has never had paid DLC, so I'm very excited to see how it goes. I'll probably be getting it because I have it's called Animal Crossing Happy Home Paradise. It's basically just you're building like houses, and you have unlimited access to any items in the game. You just kind of you're like an interior designer basically. And you can decorate like the season the house is in. You can decorate the weather the house is in, like if it's a nighttime house or daytime house.
Is it like separate island or what?
Yeah. It's actually you go to like the airport and just fly to it, and then you just build a bunch of houses. You can build schools, you can build like hospitals, like restaurants, clubs, shit like that.
Dude,
I have the
Animal
3DS.
Crossing.
I know I have the 3DS version of Happy Home Designer, which is, it's pretty good. I mean, the expansion's only $25, so it's not like huge. I'm pretty excited for it. I know Jordan is super excited for Happy Home Paradise, and that actually will probably get her to play the game again. So John, I know you watched it. What did you think? What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I didn't know like what the paid DLC would entail at first, but that sounds really exciting and potentially enticing. I actually think that this will get me back into the game. Like, this is kind of what I wanted out of Animal Crossing, being able to interact with things a lot more, because like the first version of New Horizons really was just, I mean, all you can really do is decorate. And that shit gets old. I mean, it gets old after a while, and especially after you get through like every holiday and you get all the like fun items from that. I mean, after that, it's just like you're farming for bells and you can only buy so much stuff. But I don't know, there's a lot more depth to it now. And I think as long as like, the initial user base hears about this update, and I'm sure most people would, I think it could boost Animal Crossing into some new popularity. I don't know if it'll like boost sales or anything necessarily, but that DLC does seem pretty enticing. Ursula, do you think this will get you back into the game at all?
So like all this sounds really awesome. Like it's really cool to see Nintendo support a game like this, like with such an update so far out after launch. But it's not like anything to do with the update that's stopping me from jumping back in because I do want to jump back in. It's just that like it's kind of so this is kind of like a well documented issue from when the game launched. And I don't think they ever fixed it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that
They did not.
the
No.
island, yeah, the island is linked to the Switch. So there's only one individual island you can have per Switch. And I gave that to Tana because like the game is like kind of more up her alley also. So it kind of decentivized a lot of my own like agenda on that island because it's all kind of gated by her progress and the the trap not the traveler the guest on the island essentially, which would be me, like just like when it's not your island and those sort of things, you have less of a, I don't know, I feel like you have like less incentive and less of a goal. So like I have probably like 10 hours on Animal Crossing, like between like I have like 4 or 5 on my account and like 4 or 5 on hers. But so that's what's stopping me. But like she might get back into it. But like I also said, like the other thing that's stopping me is my Joy-Con, my left Joy-Con just doesn't work for some reason. Or like it works, but only the joystick.
And you've had a hellacious time trying to get it repaired.
Yeah, like I put in the request. I even got a box to send it out. But then they never sent me the thing, so now I have to like put in another request. So I have a few hoops I have to jump through to like even enjoy this. Which is probably what's gonna stop me. But I say like I think it's really good to see Nintendo at least be like modern about something like that, like post launch support for their games. Uh, I will say though, I'm curious if this is like not too little because it's clearly not too little. Like this is a really substantial update, but I wonder if it's like too late. Like I'm curious how many of the New Horizons user base is going to catch on this because so much of it, like that, like New Horizon was the ultimate like pandemic game, like so many people had jumped onto it during the pandemic and so many people got Switches because of it. Like a lot of the sales boost really you can dedicate to this game. But I'm curious how many people will like hear about it that because I would say honestly, Andrew, do you know what the sales are of like the second best selling Animal Crossing game?
It's like 12 million, which is 21 million less than New Horizons sold.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like I'm curious how many of these people are just very casual, like those people who bought a Switch during the pandemic to play Animal Crossing and then dropped it after like 2 or 3 months and then
I mean,
never played their Switch again.
I can name like half a dozen people that like bought the Switch just for Animal Crossing last year. Like,
Yeah.
and that's just people I know, which probably extrapolate that over the 33 million copies. I mean, that's probably there's probably a good percentage that just don't play or don't even have a Switch anymore, honestly.
I feel like this update would have been really nice about 6 months ago, to be honest. Like, like it just seems a little too late to add like really functional features to the game. Like, it should have been there from the start. But I don't know necessarily if this would entice me to play Animal Crossing, but I do have a reason now, I guess. But it's just not my kind of game.
It's awesome that they're adding this, but it's also kind of like because this is like me and John. This is like a baby's first Animal Crossing for like me and John, and like it's so we don't have that like insight that you do, Andrew, of like how many features were genuinely missing from the launch of the game that were in previous games. So it's kind of like crazy to think about like how much of this stuff was in older games that wasn't in this game.
I mean, I don't think they did too bad the first go around. It's just like because like I have like 400 hours on the 3DS version of Animal Crossing. So like just coming from that game and thinking that New Horizons is going to be an upgrade and then like half the shit's missing. It's just like, it was very frustrating at first. It definitely didn't stop me from playing a ton just because, I mean, what the hell else was I going to do last year? But I think the thing with the timing is like, I think this is like a good time, generally speaking, just because like, I feel like people really start to pick the game up when the holidays start happening, like because Halloween is like a pretty big event in the game. I just have a problem with like they're putting it out like November 5th. They're sandwiching it between like two big releases. So like I mean, I don't know how many copies Pokemon Diamond and Pearl are gonna sell, but I have a feeling like there's a lot of crossover between Pokemon and Animal Crossing, me being a prime example. Like I'm gonna have like 2 weeks to play this update before I get like just engulfed into another like 100-hour game. Like I feel like they this could have been something that they're like, oh, and this is releasing like Monday the 18th is tomorrow. Yeah, the Monday the 18th. Like if it came out like tomorrow.
Dropped it. They should have just dropped it the day of the direct.
Well,
like it's going to be available tonight.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of like. You could put the DLC out maybe in 2 weeks, but like at least put the quality of life updates out like soon. Because I mean, like now it's like October 29th, the new Mario Party game comes out, and then like 4 days or 5 days later, the new Animal Crossing update comes out, and then 2 weeks after that, there's a Pokemon game coming out. So it's like I feel like that stretch of time is just going to be too overloaded for a lot of people to get like
they're busting their entire load like all at once. I don't get it. They went so really long without doing anything.
Nintendo. Well, and then lest we forget, Nintendo Switch Online got revealed, the expansion pack. So they tried to so the original one is $20 a year right now. So now they're bumping it up to $50 a year, which is an upgrade option. That's not the base now. The base is still $20 if you just want basic Switch Online, which I think is still too much for that janky ass online system. But I digress. We will be getting. Well, I'm not going to get it, but the Nintendo Switch Online service will be getting the expansion pass that brings Sega Genesis and N64 Nintendo Switch Online services, which is pretty cool. And then the Animal Crossing DLC is actually free if you get the if you subscribe to the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pass, which for some people that makes it worth it, but like not the majority of Switch Online users, because I don't know a whole lot of people that bought Switch Online just so they could go online on Animal Crossing. It's usually for like Mario Kart or Smash or Mario Party.
Same. Yeah.
I don't like the pricing. I think it's and me.
It should be a $10 upgrade, bro.
Yeah, it should be. I think that's fair for N64 games, but I mean, like we were talking on Friday after it dropped, like PlayStation Plus is $10 more, and you get 3 free games every month. You get 36 free games a year,
and they're not 30 years old.
Yeah, and one of the 3 games every month is a PS5 game for a brand new console. Like, dude, how do you justify charging $10 less than a service that gives you 36 games a year?
Dude, on PlayStation, if you wait long enough, you will be able to play all of the big hitters. If you just wait it out, you will be able to play them all for free because they all come out on PS Plus for free.
Yeah. And that 36 games a year doesn't even take into consideration the fucking 20 free PS4 games you get when you get a PS5. 20 first party titles. Well, not all of them are first party, bangers. But all banger titles.
Yeah.
This new Nintendo Switch Online package is way too expensive, but I'm gonna end up getting it anyway because I'm a Nintendo shell. I do need to play Majora's Mask. I need to play Majora's Mask and just to catch up on a few of those games.
You need to play it that bad, bro?
Yes.
Why don't you just emulate it on your PC?
For legal purposes,
we do not condone that.
For legal purposes, this is a joke, but it would be really funny if you played it on your PC in full 4K resolution and upscaled everything.
Every time I've emulated games,
that'd be really funny. Super funny, actually.
Every time I've emulated games, it's just been terrible. It's always either terrible frames or lags a ton, or the screen, like the quality of the game just doesn't work right. Like it doesn't.
I think your PC stinky.
I don't think that's the case. I think it's a software thing.
I mean, it's
But-
really a good joke that I tell once in a while is playing Wii games on my fucking 2015 MacBook. That's a joke that I tell once in a while, and it's a pretty funny joke.
I'll say this: if I was gonna buy the Animal Crossing, I would actually get this expansion pass because it's only $5 more from there, to get those Nintendo 64 games and stuff like that. But yeah, no, like I don't think anyone was sitting. I mean, we predicted the price like when they got announced. Nobody said anything higher than $30. Like it was gonna be $30 total, right? Like correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think any of us.
I don't
said
think
that.
anyone thought it was going to be
No.
50.
Yeah, and
Well,
literally, like there's a tweet that I saw, and like that's the best. Just my thoughts exactly. Like it was just a photo of the price, and the caption was, "Lamau, absolutely no, thank you, but good on you for trying." Like this, like it's just like I was talking about this. Like it's just Nintendo on the business end. Well, Nintendo and like everything except making games. Like it's just like they have their head so far up their ass. Like who thought this was a good idea? And the thing is, people are gonna buy this. Like people are gonna buy it. That's the word. That's the thing.
Like Parker.
Yeah,
Yeah, like Parker.
Yeah. It's just
Yeah.
because I want to play a
Parker's part of the
game
problem.
off there. I played Ocarina of Time.
Okay, so
Hey,
once you
you know
finish
what? I
those
can-
games, will
okay.
you drop it?
I can give you a pass, Parker, because if you wanted to buy a legit copy of Majora's Mask to play, you would have to have a 3DS, and you would need to pay $35 for the game itself. And I do understand like the thought process that, oh, hey, you know, they're like, oh, the DLC is free if you buy it. And like you said, Arsenal, it's only $5 more. But then if you want to keep playing the DLC, you have to pay this $50 every single year until you just like get tired of the DLC and give up on it.
Yeah.
Which
And
Happy Home Designer, if this one's the same, it's one of those games where it's like just a nice game to have in your back pocket because it's like a very relaxing, like just chill game. And I mean, unless it really sucks, like I'll probably want to keep it for multiple years. And
yeah, and like it's really like look at the competition. Like not even PlayStation.
like Game Pass.
Game Pass you get for $15.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about Game Pass.
Yeah, a Game Pass, which is more expensive. Like it's well, if there's a funny joke, right? There's a funny joke that if you have a new account on your create a new account on your Xbox, you get $1 of Game Pass for 3 months, or a Game Pass for 3 months for $1. So if you have like 4 new accounts a year, like I've heard this a good joke, like you can get Game Pass for a year.
Yeah, I think that was like a joke at the opening of one of the Seinfeld episodes. I think that one was really funny.
It was
Yeah.
iconic. So you can get like Game Pass for like $4 a year, or if you sometimes they'll have a new like a $1 a month deal, so you could get it for like $12 a year. But anyway, and
That's
that
funny. That's a
yeah,
that's a good joke.
yeah, that's a really good joke. And so yeah, and that has hundreds of games. That literally has hundreds of games and all that
Brand new
literally-
game.
and like Halo Infinite, which is going to be the big, like probably the biggest release this fall. Like you'll be able to play that for $1 off of Game Pass. It launches on Game Pass day one, like which is crazy. Like, and so when you see that sort of stuff from the competition, it's like $50 for like, you know, 90s era games. Like that's kind of a lot.
That's
And they're only
kind of
eight-
a
there's
lot.
only 8 games.
It's a little bit.
It makes you feel like we're. It makes you feel like we're in the bad timeline, which we are. We're in the worst timeline, and it also makes you think, "What if, bro?" So John and Arcel, you guys finished What If? Can you give us some brief thoughts on the series? I only watched episode 8, so if I might jump in on that, but give us your thoughts from the Marvel Hive.
Yeah, John, do you
Well,
want to
I know-
start this off?
Yeah, I know it took Ursula about half a year to finish this.
The rare Arcel backlog.
Yeah.
Casey and I stuck with it. Every week we watch the new episode on Wednesdays. And I thought it was like one of my favorite Marvel projects so far. I thought they did a lot with it. And, you know, spoilers ahead, if you have not finished What If, I would watch it. I would highly recommend it. But I didn't think that it was going to have any effect on the MCU at first. And I thought it was just going to be, exactly as advertised.
But
What
did
if
it?
this? What if that? I think it will connect to the MCU based on how it ended. I really do. And there's no way that with all the spoilers, obviously, multiverse stuff that happens in the end of the show, there's no way that's not going to connect to the actual MCU. Even though it's animated, I think it's going to connect in some way, especially with like the Guardians of the Multiverse. Dude,
Yeah.
that was so badass. But before we go
Well,
into
they're
like
not gonna
quick
have they're not gonna have T'Challa be a part of that.
right,
RP.
but I mean, Marvel has their ways of figuring that out. I'm sure they'll wrap that up in a nice bow. Did they? In What If?
What, that like a T'Challa?
Yeah, that T'Challa is gone. I
No,
thought they
like
wrapped it up.
he just well, it's actually pretty sad. What If was the last thing that he did for the MCU. So that was Chadwick Boseman voicing T'Challa.
Yeah,
But like RIP, obviously, but yeah, like that's his last MCU thing that he did. But yeah, no, he just went back to his world at the end. Like but I guess I could probably like jump into like my thoughts real quick. Is I thought it was really interesting to see like, oh, like yeah, like what if you just changed this one thing? How could it change the events? I thought it was funny how some like I feel like half of the episodes like changing this one thing like just ended in the entire universe, just this ending, you know.
yeah, literally.
um I thought some of the episodes like I feel like it definitely ranged in quality. uh I think my least favorite was probably the one where Thor is just partying on Earth. Like
Yeah,
I
that
thought,
one was a little bit silly. What if Thor was an only child?
yeah, like it was just like, and I don't even know. I mean, like I get like maybe why they wanted him off the planet because he was just partying on Earth, like and just going crazy and bringing all these extraterrestrials. But yeah, that one just felt a little random. And also, I gotta say, the one that caught me off guard, like one thing that caught me off in guard in the last episode was how they brought Gamora, but like there wasn't an episode dedicated to her. Like
I know.
like I was like, what? And I actually looked this up and I found out that there was actually supposed to be 10 episodes. And for some reason that episode got cut from the season. Uh I have no idea why, but it did. And then honestly, some of my favorite episodes were like I really liked episode 8, which I think we'll talk about in a
What if
sec. But
Ultron? Yeah.
yeah, but I also really liked I liked the one where T'Challa Star Lord. Uh and I thought I really liked as depressing as it was, I thought the one where Doctor Strange loses his what if he lost his heart instead of his hands was a really crazy episode. But also yeah, like super depressing.
Yeah.
Um
Well, I
but
think I
yeah.
think that's an episode that could have implications on the MCU. We have Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness coming out in March.
Mhm.
And how are we as MCU fans supposed to watch What If and not have to wonder if they're gonna tie that back somehow, or
Yeah,
if Doctor Strange is gonna come across
his evil self.
Supreme Doctor Strange or whatever he's called. Like
Yeah.
literally, he absorbs like all of the matter in the universe. Like every being in the universe, he swallows and like has its energy. He alone is able to save them from like
Ultron.
actual multiverse destruction. Like Ultron was going to destroy every universe in the multiverse. Like that
Yeah.
was his goal in episode 8. And it was really cool too that they did bring it all together at the end. And they did have like every character, like Captain Carter, um, as the first soldier. or the first super soldier, instead of Captain America, Steve Rogers.
Yeah, I thought it was like I guess we can kind of talk about 8 and 9 because they're really tied together, but like uh I think it was kind of silly. I mean, I get why they did it because like they're trying to tie all the episodes together, but like in terms of the watchers, like thinking of like, okay, so you're gonna pick all these people for the multiverse, right? The like why the fuck are you picking this Thor? You know, like why not pick
Yeah,
like a Thor who's like seasoned and like the Thor from like the main timeline, you know, that has fought like Thanos or something, or like why not
I
like
think
bring
it was
over?
the overconfidence of this Thor that was his like greatest power. I feel like with this group of people, it just worked. But yeah, I mean, it was
Yeah,
kind of a cop out.
yeah, and it was a kind of a like a meme that people were talking about how like every episode Tony Stark fucking dies.
I was gonna mention that too.
Yeah, like every single episode he dies, which I thought was funny.
I don't really understand why they do that. Maybe to desensitize us to that in the MCU. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but I thought the like it's kind of like I'm curious how all this MCU stuff or this multiverse stuff ties together because it's like so there's the TVA that was in Loki, but then you also have like and like Kang, but then you also separately have like the Watcher watching over the multiverse. You have like two entities watching over the multiverse essentially, and yeah, like I'm kind of curious, like, and also
I think the
I'm
Watcher is King, right?
no,
They're not the same.
no, yeah, they're not the same. At least they if they are, they haven't said it. Like he might be like a Kang variant, but
That's what I was thinking.
like they're voiced by different actors too. So like you know, so I think he's like a separate character. Which also I'm like, why didn't the Watcher stop Loki or them like from the like like splitting up the multiverse and having Kang be unleashed? You know, like
Maybe
for
that's
the
what's supposed to happen.
maybe, but yeah, I thought it was interesting, but also maybe like question like what exactly is going on with the multiverse, like where are they going to take it? Because it's like anything's fair game, so
I
it's
mean,
really just
anything
like
is
a
fair game. And that's
yeah,
why I thought, with Ultron destroying entire universes like one by one, I swore that somehow it was going to connect. But
yeah. And there's a
obviously,
little
the
Easter
good
egg.
guys win.
There's a little
Like,
Easter egg to Galactus in episode 8. Did you catch it?
yeah, it was literally Ultron taking a bite out of a
Yeah,
galaxy. Yeah.
yeah. And he looked exactly like Galactus for a second. So
Yeah,
that
I
was like,
thought that was interesting.
yeah. But no, and honestly, like that was one of my favorite things was seeing Ultron in episode 8 because I honestly feel like Ultron didn't get his just due. Like I thought he was really awesome in Age of Ultron, but like he's the only villain out of like the Avengers movies that doesn't have multiple movies to develop, like Thanos and Loki.
I
So
mean,
like I feel like
technically, he was the biggest bad of them all in anything MCU related we've seen.
yeah, I will say I thought it was a little cap when he like Thanos like came through the fucking portal and he just it just shredded like just killed him in half like that. I was like, okay, like I mean I know they're trying to get to the point where he gets all the stones, but I was like that was pretty
Yeah,
fast. Like that was just
Thanos and Tony Stark were both done extremely dirty in What If.
yeah.
Like, Thanos was kind of a bitch in What If.
Yeah, like seriously. And he was like he turned to a good boy in the T'Challa episode, but yeah, like I would say like my cons mainly with the show is like some of the episodes like varied in quality. Like I also thought like how they treated Killmonger, like he was just this mustache twirling asshole the whole time.
Yeah,
Like
this Lord Baelish the entire
yeah,
time.
dude, literally, he was literally just playing both
He
sides.
was.
And I thought like my main complaint was I thought some of the episodes were weaker, like that like that episode of the one I was just talking about where Thor's the only son,
Yeah.
but also like I thought some of them ended kind of abruptly, like that Killmonger episode. Like it felt like the third act of that story would just was not there. Like it just ended right in there. You know, like they're like, let's work together. I was like, oh, that's the end. Okay. Like
Yeah.
but I thought it was still really entertaining. And they already said there's gonna be a season 2. So
Really?
Yeah,
Oh man, I actually didn't know that. I'm really
yeah.
excited for that.
Like I'd probably give it like a 7.5.
I'd probably give it like an 8.5. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, there were a couple of episodes that didn't hit like totally for me. I agree. Like, what if Thor was an only child was but the ending for me, like going into episode 8 and then 9 too, like I figured that was enough saving grace actually for that 7th episode for me. I thought what if zombies was a little bit like okay. Like
Oh, but also the other thing I wanted that another thing I thought about like how like Hank Pym like fucked things over twice.
Hank
Uh,
Pym.
like the OG Ant-Man, the old Ant-Man. Uh,
Oh yeah.
like with him killing the Avengers, and then like what the very next episode of him like starting the zombie thing on accident.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was interesting too. And I didn't know like why he was so present in What If, but because I never like really knew who he was. Was he
Yeah,
in Ant-Man the movie?
yeah. He's in both.
Oh, I guess
He's
I
like
just
yeah, he's the OG Ant-Man that like. And remember in Ant-Man when he like breaks into the dude's house, like he's stealing from Hank Pym like
oh,
to get
okay.
that suit. But
Yeah,
and
I
then
guess Ant-Man are the movies that we usually skip in our MCU run through. If we
oh really?
Yeah, they're okay. I don't know.
Yeah, the porn star villain in the first movie.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, that fight on the train track was pretty lit, but I digress. Yeah, I would give What If an 8.5.
But
I
like
thought it was
also
really good.
yeah, but pros also I didn't really say like I really like just seeing like similar events through a different lens and like a lot of callbacks and Easter eggs to like earlier movies and things like that.
Yeah, it was
But
just
yeah,
cool to see all of these characters and like their potential and seeing them evil or good or I mean, you got to watch this. If you're an MCU fan, regardless of if you like cartoons or like the style, watch it because the stories are worth it. They're highly worth it, I think.
yeah, I agree. It's really an enjoyable watch. I wouldn't say it's my favorite one. It's probably still WandaVision if I'm being honest. But and Loki I probably like more too, but this was still enjoyable. Definitely better than Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Definitely better than Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think WandaVision is still top tier. Loki still gosh, I don't know. I gotta remember how I ranked them because I think I might have given WandaVision an 8 or an 8.5. Um, and I've given What If an 8.5.
You gave
But
WandaVision an 8.
dang, I guess I like What If more. And I
Damn.
would probably say that's kind of true. I mean, my jaw was on the floor like half the shows. They were so
Yeah.
good,
And
especially the Doctor Strange one and What If Ultron one.
yeah, and the best like one of the best the coolest moments was when Ultron like turns like looks into the camera and he's like, I see you or whatever. Yeah,
Yes,
I was like,
dude,
holy shit.
Ultron was so badass, like
Yeah.
ridiculously badass. I know Andrew watched that episode. What did you think of that episode not being like a huge MCU guy?
I mean, I think all the multiverse stuff is really interesting, and just the whole like the Watcher. I think that whole like Phase 4 concept is really interesting to me. So I did enjoy that episode a lot, even though I not a whole lot of MCU experience.
Is the MCU gonna pull a fucking Bioshock Infinite?
Dude, I
Crazy
feel like
twist.
it's gonna just connect everything. I feel like everything is gonna connect. And I liked how Wanda snuck into What If, but I wish she was in it more.
Oh, as the
Wanda was,
zombie. Yeah.
yeah, she wasn't in it too much. I was surprised.
Yeah. But shout out to Jeffrey Wright as the Watcher. And speaking of Jeffrey Wright, we can talk about
Damn
another
it,
thing
you
that he's got to be
asshole! You
in.
took my segue.
uh,
So
yeah, go ahead.
yesterday, Saturday, October the 16th of the year of the Lord 2021, the new Batman trailer came out, which got me extremely hype. I think this movie looks like it's gonna bang. Robert Pattinson is Batman, and just the whole thing having like an LA noir style like plot. is super fucking interesting to me.
And
I thought
vengeance.
like the final shot of the trailer where the dude's upside down, you just see Robert Pattinson as Batman just walking towards him and flames behind him was like, that's like a top tier
Goated.
shot right there. I can't wait for that part of the movie. And like even the trailer, like the music in the trailer was so good, and I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God. Like this movie's got potential.
Snyderverse. I'm just
It's
kidding.
not the Snyderverse.
I
though.
know it's
Restore
not
the
the
Snyderverse!
Headphones
So
warning.
what do you guys? I'm extremely excited for this movie now, and I assume you guys all are too.
Oh, it looks
Yeah,
badass.
Yeah, like
Another
Batman,
what's his name? The Riddler. Another Riddler teaser. I feel like
Yeah.
we've gotten Riddler teasers forever, and now I think he's actually going to be in a Batman movie again.
Yeah, and he's gonna be the main villain, and he looks creepy. But like as Spider-Man and Batman are my favorite heroes. And like the Dark Knight is spoilers. Dark Knight is like my favorite movie ever. So, I'm obviously a vamp, a vamp,
King Vamp.
A King
Vamp
Vamp.
fan. But no, like I'm always gonna be hyped to see a new iteration of Batman. Even though Ben Affleck was kind of whatever, like I actually thought like Ben Affleck's Batman was the best part of like Batman vs Superman, or like the movies that he's in. Or he's one of the better parts. I actually didn't think Ben Affleck did a bad job. But yeah, I think he just was wasted. And I don't know if people know this, but when this movie was originally starting production, it was supposed to be Ben Affleck, and then he dropped out of it. And it was actually supposed to be directed by Ben Affleck as well. It was did and starring Ben Affleck. But now it's not. It's being directed by Matt Reeves, who directed the recent Planet of the Apes trilogy, which is a really good series of movies. And obviously it has Robert Pattinson in it. But I'm really excited because I'm excited to like return to this gritty, grounded Gotham that was something similar to the Nolan films. And just really seeing this iteration of Batman, because I think it's something dark and something we haven't seen before. Like the director has said that this is a Batman that is very early on in his career, and has like the director said, he has like anger issues. He doesn't know how to control himself. The line, like he said specifically, like the lines between like Bruce Wayne and Batman are blurred. So I'm actually like really excited to see Robert Pattinson take on this character, because Robert Pattinson, spoilers also, if you haven't figured out by now, Robert Pattinson is an amazing actor actually. He's really made a rebound since Twilight. He's like genuinely like, one of the best.
Tenet.
Yeah,
Dude.
Tenet, Good Time, The Lighthouse, all three of these movies that he's been in recently, he's put in fantastic performances, and I'm really excited to see how he is as Batman. And like whenever you just see him fighting people, like there's just this like viciousness to it, like that's just like it's just violent. And yeah, I'm really excited. And also like the rumors that's going to be more like a quote unquote horror movie. It's going to be like a kind of like a darker like horror
Some
tinged
vamp
Batman
stuff.
vamp stuff. I'm really excited. I'm really excited, and it's telling because this movie's original release date was going to be this month. It was going to be a Halloween movie, and I feel like it would have been a perfect Halloween movie. But I'm super stoked. I'm super excited. But what about you, John?
I'm really excited for this, dude. I mean, it really does remind me of the Nolan Batman films, but even darker. Like it reminds me of The Dark Knight Rises. Like if The Dark Knight Rises had a sequel, even though the character would not follow the same, like it seems like that progression of darkness. Like
Yeah.
this one just, dude, it almost reminds me too of like Batman Begins. I thought Batman Begins was pretty dark considering. And
all the Nolan films are pretty dark. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, shoot. But this one seems like it could be even more so. And I'm really excited to see what Matt Reeves, right?
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what he does with it, because I actually like the Planet of the Apes trilogy.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty good set of movies. And I mean, I love Batman too. Batman's one of my favorites. Dark Knight's one of my favorite movies as well. And this really it's looking like that. I mean, it's looking like that same Batman vibe. Definitely not an Adam West Batman, thank God. We can leave that in the past, but it'll be really interesting to see what they do with this. And I hope that they, make a few more movies after this with Robert Pattinson, because he is really doing a kick-ass job in it with this craft lately. And I really loved him in Tenet. And he seems like a good Batman. He actually sounded exactly like Christian Bale, in my opinion, when he said, "I am vengeance."
Yeah.
Jinx. But
Yeah.
Parker, are you excited for this one?
Parker,
Oh,
we
I
can't
can't
hear
hear
you
you.
if you're talking. Yeah, no, we can't hear you, dog.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Oh, now I can hear you.
Oh, and is it going now?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was just saying, I'm excited to see how Pattinson performs in the Batman role. To see like how he compares to Bale and all the other guys. But I was just watching the trailer now while you guys are talking about it, and it does look pretty dark. Um, I actually did not know this trailer was out until you guys just started talking about it, so I'm just kind of getting all the information right now. But I am excited. I fucking love Batman. Dark Knight's probably top 5 for me, so I just want to see how they build on it and see what direction it takes. I just hope they restore the Snyderverse. I'm on that kick.
At the end of the day, we just gotta restore the Snyderverse.
What is it? Maybe Robert Pattinson is the original King Vamp. He
Oh,
he was a vampire in
factual.
Twilight, and now he's Batman. I think Pattinson has a like a thing for bat related roles.
Ooh.
The fact that you guys
I-
are saying anybody else but Cardi is the
Oh.
King Vamp is pretty laughable.
And
But
I didn't
go on.
even I don't think I even mentioned this, but I think I saw something about how he got cast in a like as Nosferatu in a Nosferatu film.
You're joking.
I'm not joking.
What? He
Yeah.
is just a vampire. He's a real life vampire.
He's just a king
He's
vamp.
Batman.
Yeah. Battinson.
Robert
Pattinson.
Pattinson. Oh, you heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, but super excited. And March can't come sooner. Like that's probably the movie I'm hyped for the most right now.
Yes.
I agree.
I
Same.
am extremely excited to see the King Vamp in action.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to get into Mario 3D World. Speaking of dark, dastardly games, or not games, but media, we will be talking about Bowser's Fury.
I was gonna say the very opposite, but maybe Bowser's Fury. That's pretty dark.
Let's get right into it. So Super Mario 3D World, the last dying straw of the Wii U until this year, has dropped. It dropped earlier in the year, and we're going to be talking about it way later because that's just what we do. We just review things that are not new. 3D World is a very interesting game that I thought. I guess we can give our initial thoughts first. But I had played this game originally on the Wii U, and I really enjoyed it because it was a game that when it first came out in 2013, when I was in like high school, I was like, oh my God, like this is probably a stinky Mario game. But now, I guess I played it in 2020, so it would have been 7 years later. This game is a very interesting game. It takes that 3D Mario formula, throws some new Super Mario Bros in there, and then just let you have fun with it. And this version actually has Bowser's Fury, which we will get into our thoughts on a little bit later. But that was an expansion that was exclusive to the Switch version. It was not on the Wii U version. Initially, when I first was gonna play it on the Wii U, I had heard it was a good game. It didn't really get like banging reviews, but people that had played it said it's worth your time and it's a really good game, and I agree with that. I had played the spin-off game Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, which was on the Wii U and Switch as well. First, so that was kind of my first taste of the whole like 3D World engine and formula and stuff, which probably is why I like 3D World a lot more, because I thought Captain Toad was a great puzzle game, and I liked the engine it was on, and I liked how the mechanics and everything. So that kind of set me up for it initially. Um, John, what were you thinking coming in?
Yeah, so I had actually played, I think played Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker before it as well. Because I think
Yeah,
you gave me a code for it.
yeah. A really funny joke was told by Walmart, that I think the joke entailed that they were accidentally giving away the full game instead of the $4 DLC, which that's a pretty good funny little joke that they were a little prank they were pulling last
Yeah,
year.
you got it. You got it. And you gave it to me because you were like, I think this is the full game. And it was the full game.
Yeah, it was the full game for $4.
Yeah, I was like, dang. But I played through like half of that and I thought it was really fun. And I think it's really fun that 3D World has those extra levels in it. And I mean, I think 3D World does a lot of good things. It's not just 3D Mario. You get a little bit of side-scrolling action here and there. You get different kinds of levels. You get those Toad Tracker or the Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker levels. And the game is not just what it seems at the surface. It's actually like ridiculous how much extra content there is after you beat the main game. Like I've played the game probably just as much after beating the main story as I did beating the main story. There is so much extra after beating, worlds 1 through 8 or whatever. It's just really good. It's a really good Mario experience in my opinion. It's one of the better Mario games I think that's come out in a long time, especially since, HD Mario, and it looks really really good. I actually played the entire game with just Casey. Like Casey and I played this entire game together, 2-player. So I'll have, my thoughts based on that. And I feel like at times it could get a little frustrating and a little bit wonky, but I think that Mario does couch multiplayer, just about as good as any game could do it, especially a game like this that's a very precise platformer. I think it actually does do it about as well as anyone could. I think Sackboy probably does it a little bit better. Sackboy on like PS5, PS4, but that's a game that's 8 years older, technically 7 or 8 years older, or newer, I mean. But I really like this one. I had a lot of fun with it. I think I played about 28 hours altogether, including Bowser's Fury. And I still haven't 100%ed it. And I like
Yeah, that's about where I'm
Mario
at.
games.
I think I'm at 25 or 26, I think.
And that's almost the time that I put into Odyssey. And I would say, as a spoiler for my review score, I like this more than Odyssey. So
Yeah,
as a package deal. But what about you, Parker? I know you played it more recently.
Yes, so just kind of going into this game, I've played pretty much every 3D Mario you could think of, except for Mario Galaxy 2. I've yet to, that's probably one of the better ones too. But I have like my full plethora of Mario experience, right? I started off with Super Mario Sunshine when I was really young. Just got into Mario 64 after that, and then Galaxy and all, then Odyssey. So I had really high expectations going into this game, thinking, hey, these other Mario platformers are always top tier, 95 plus on the Metacritics, always. There's all of these 3D Mario platformers are excellent quality. They do a great job with them. But I actually did get my first experience of 3D World with Andrew playing co-op. And I thought when I first played it, oh my God, this is shit. I'm not gonna lie. The co-op I did not have fun with. But once I started this up and started getting it rolling, I noticed a lot of flaws with the gameplay. I'll get into that later. But I do like the new power ups that they involve. They actually got you a new cat power up, which you can climb walls with. You can also still get the raccoon, so you can fly in the air. That's probably my favorite one, is the raccoon ability. There's also so there's just some new cool features that they put in here that do add value for sure. Also, the optics of the game, like how the levels look and the resolution and frame rate and everything, those actually seem pretty good for the most part. Usually 3D Switch games can suffer from the frame dropping and like if there's a lot of enemies in an area or whatever, but I didn't notice too much of that in this game. But more my gripes on the gameplay I'll talk about later, but overall I think it was very, very well designed. Music is great. And
Oh yeah, music is fantastic.
music is fantastic. And I also had a lot of fun with Bowser's Fury. A lot of fun. So I'll lead it into
and
you,
like
Arcel.
yeah, so I played like around like half of the like 3D, like I played like 3D World, obviously. I haven't played 3D Land. I've played the Galaxy games. I've played Odyssey. I've played 64. I haven't played Sunshine. Um, so I'm not like as
I would
fully
not
versed.
recommend playing Sunshine unless they remaster it. Not fun.
Yeah, if they remaster Sunshine, you got to play it.
It's a
Yeah.
bozo broken ass game.
But
I wouldn't call
yeah.
it broken, but go on.
But so with Mario, like, Mario is the best platformer around. Like, so in terms of like the basics, I don't have to tell anyone that the gameplay, and the movement and all that, it's fine tuned and it's smooth as butter. It's really great. But also this, and like the environments, the world and the levels you're running through, they're always top tier, like in any Mario game. But this one in particular, I think a big pro of it is the variety that is on display is really something to behold. There's just something new on each world and each level you're going through, and I think the game does a good job of like slightly increasing the difficulty as time goes on. Uh, like, but I didn't love this game, especially not at the start. I actually was not enjoying this game at all at the beginning because I'm in Parker's camp. We can get into it later, but I think the co-op is very poorly implemented in this game, and can was generally detracting from my fun of it. But once I started playing solo, I enjoyed the game a lot more, and I do think it's better than Odyssey. Um, and I wish this game got more attention when it came out, but it sucks that it came out on the Wii U that no one bought. Um, but Bowser's Fury, which we'll also get into later, I think is actually the better item of the package. It's the same shame it's short, but I think Bowser's Fury is really a signal to like the future of Mario, I think. And I really enjoyed. I thought Bowser's Fury is what really elevates the package at the end of the day for me. But like, yeah, we can go into further specifics about our cons, but
Yeah.
like, yeah.
All right. So, we'll split it in half since we have very differing opinions on the two the two games included in this package. So we'll go through 3D World. We'll just give our pros and cons. And then after we go through 3D World, we'll go through Bowser's Fury because I feel like they're different enough that they should not be in the same like kind of conversation, I guess. So
Yeah.
things I liked about this game, the music. The music was fantastic. I liked all the callbacks to the older Mario games, like the Mario Bros. 2 Select theme as the jackpot theme. And I really liked how the game was set up visually. Like on the like World Select map, it was like tiny little like dioramas of the level you were about to play. I thought that was really cool. I really liked like the stage that was the Mario Kart, the SNES Mario Kart stage with the like different with the Mario Kart music. I thought that was like super cool to have a Mario Kart level in a 3D Mario game. Um, things I didn't like, the camera. The camera sucks. It's not very fun to use. I did get used to it eventually, but Took a little time to get used to, if I'm being honest. It's a very, because when I play 3D Mario games, I'm used to having a 360 free camera.
Yeah.
This game does not give you that allowance. It keeps you very, very like straight and narrow on the camera angles you can use and how you can interact with the game. Another thing I didn't like is I feel like some of the levels where you like the gauntlet type levels where you just have to keep going through like level after level getting a star, and I like the one at the end where it's like 20 straight levels was just exhausting as hell to get through. Also, the other thing I didn't like was in the I haven't 100% of the game, so I don't have the final world, like the crown world yet. But at the end of the world Fire Flower, which is like the last one before you have to 100% the game, there is like a boss gauntlet that is just exhausting as hell to get through. It was so awful. Like it took me like 10 or 11 tries. I like didn't even know if I was going to finish it. So I feel like some of the levels are just unnecessarily hard. And I think that kind of like parallels with Odyssey, because if you guys remember in Odyssey, the darker side of the moon, that like final gauntlet level to finish the game, which the 3D world version is actually in the world crown, but I felt like the boss one was pretty close to it because it's just artificial difficulty just because you can't respawn at any point.
Yeah, they just make the checkpoints. They don't make the levels harder. They just put the checkpoint later. So if you make a mistake, you just have to go all the way back.
Yeah, and I guess one thing I forgot to mention that I did like was the Captain Toad levels. I thought the Captain Toad levels were strong as hell and a very interesting twist on a puzzle game. Like having to do a 3D Mario level without being able to jump is like kind of like a wrench that needed to be tossed in just to like freshen it up. And I thought they did a really good job. And I'm very glad that they made it into its own standalone game, because I think the Captain Toad levels are some of the strongest ones in 3D World just because of how creative you have to be. So that's kind of my general pros and cons. John, I'll go to you if you want to give a couple.
Yeah. Well, I don't actually have a whole ton of cons with 3D World. I actually played the whole game with my wife, and I thought that it was fine. I didn't have a lot of trouble doing it. I mean, there's certain points I feel like where it got frustrating, but I feel like it made the game a little bit easier almost, because you can play off of each other and you don't ever truly, game over and have to restart a level, because one of you, for the most part, will always be alive, and then the other person can come back from there. So it really helped us to actually get through the game really quickly. We actually beat the main 3D World game, I think, in about 10 hours or so. So a little over an hour per world, but we would finish every single level within that world, including, the gauntlet kind of levels and the Captain Toad treasure tracker levels. That's a mouthful, but we would, try and 100% each world that we went through, and we would replay a level if we didn't get through it. But I still feel like we beat it pretty fast at 10 hours. And then to that point, there's so much extra stuff after you beat the game. It's ridiculous how many worlds there are, and like secret worlds. And you don't realize it really until you beat it. And it gets a lot harder from there. And it's a really welcoming challenge, in my opinion. And I think the bulk of what's really cool about 3D World is what's after the main story. And those levels are amazing. Some of them are ridiculously difficult, like Andrew said.
There's actually one that I like just finished yesterday. Like the piranha plants in the dark or some shit, and like
I don't think I've beat that one yet.
It's so hard.
I'm on the crown world. I'm on the crown one right now. So maybe I did beat it. But that's only because Casey and I play off of each other. Like, dude, there's no way I would have gotten that far on my own. So I think the co-op is really good. especially when you're able to get Rosalina at the end as an extra character. Spoiler, you get a double jump with her, so it makes the game a lot easier, even though it gets a lot harder. This game's beautiful. I really can't talk enough about like how good this game looks. And I think that, Super Mario Odyssey looks good as a more 3D, like it's more of a 3D game than 3D World, because 3D World does have that fixed camera and you can just kind of go a little bit left or a little bit right. But it's beautiful for what it is, and it never slows down. I didn't have any issues with frame rate at all with 3D World. Bowser's Fury here and there. But this game is fine-tuned. Like Ursula said, it's a fine-tuned game. You expect that with Mario. And really my only con would be camera, and how the fixed camera angle did make it difficult at certain points, especially when you're forced into those like time intensive things where you have to go at a certain pace. When you're forced into that, it's really hard with that fixed camera to like land in the correct spot, and you kind of have to just base it off of your shadow, which is kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
I wish you could tilt that camera up at some points. But besides that, I feel like this game is a banger, and I would highly recommend it to anyone. I mean, that's not my full review technically, but pros and cons. I don't have a lot of cons, but pros, I mean, it's beautiful, amazing to play, great co-op experience. But cons, I think the camera is pretty whack. But what about you, Ursel?
Yeah, like it's like kind of speaking back to the variety, like it was always like I was always excited to go to the next level because I wanted to see like, oh, like what is this level going to be like? What mechanics are they going to incorporate? And they keep building upon those mechanics and how you can implement them. I will say like uh a lot of times like I feel like it's just in terms of there's so many outfits and things like that, but I feel like at the end of the day, like the cat outfit is like always the best one in a lot of circumstances. It's kind of overpowered. Um, I I don't know if I could see myself playing like a full game of those Toad levels. Um, I thought they were a nice palate cleanser in between like the regular levels, which I appreciated them as that, but I don't know, maybe I could like maybe I just need to see what a full game of that looks like, but that's like hard for me to imagine. But yeah, same as you, John. I played through every level that I could. Uh and I got to the end of the Star World. That's where my progress was. Um so but also like kind of going to like the con I was talking about, I think that my God, I think the co-op is poorly implemented because of the camera. Uh and I think that I don't know what the game does to track it, like track or decide who like the camera is gonna follow, but I could never understand the logic behind it. I felt like I just couldn't understand who it was deciding to track, and uh there's just it became really frustrating because if anyone like fell behind, they'd get teleported back up. But a lot of times, when you would get dropped out of that bubble, it wouldn't drop you in an ideal place, and then you would just die again. And then if say one of you is dying a lot more than the other, uh, like you're losing a lot of lives there. So like it was really frustrating for me, and I was honestly like my initial impressions, I thought this game was like a 6 or 7, like a 6 out of 10. I was like, dude, this is rough. I'm like, this is like just because and it's strange because co-op wise, like it's funny because I feel like this game is advertised to be like a party game or a co-op game, but I really do think this game is best playing solo, where the camera is going at your pace and you're able to move through the obstacles at your own pace and really like get that flow going. I feel like in platformers in general, when you have like a flow, when you've kind of established a flow of moving through a level, that's when it's best. And I feel like that flow gets really interrupted with the camera prioritization and co-op and like because of that, like how you're constantly getting teleported to the bubbles and stuff like that. So when I started playing by myself, I started enjoying the game a lot more. But I think the camera is this game's cardinal sin. Like it is really can make the game more frustrating, like unfairly hard, uh, to me at least, because uh I feel like it's just really hard to get like a depth perception on some of the jumps going on. And like you, John, you said you have to really use your shadow to gauge some of these jumps. But
Yeah.
like so like I felt like, oh, like okay, I'm gonna make this jump and I swear I'm like on the item or on the platform, and then I miss it because the camera's looking at it from a curved angle or like a offset angle. So you just you're falling to your death. And it like specifically I remember the one that really, and you're like you have to be actively switching the camera around a lot of the times. Like I remember there's that one where the ball is moving through the lava and you have to stay on top of it, I think. uh there's or like the not the ball but the items keep flipping over in the lava, and I remember that one being really frustrating with the camera. But and that's like the main thing that stops me from loving 3D World, is that camera, but and the poor implementation of co-op, I feel like. But I really enjoyed this game playing solo after I dropped the co-op aspect. And like it can't be understated the variety of the levels. The game is beautiful, the color palette is amazing, and the gameplay when you're not battling the camera, right, is when the camera is not an issue and you have that flow and you're running through the worlds, and moving through the levels, and you're not thinking about the camera. It's really like, like it's just classic Mario, and it just feels so good to play. And that variety on display is really the main reason that makes me enjoy it more than Odyssey, because I feel like the world started getting a little stale in Odyssey. But do I think this is the best 3D world game, 3D Mario game? No. I'm gonna still give that to Galaxy. But what about you, Parker?
Yeah, so the pros of this game really start out with the level design. Everything looks beautiful in this game. This is probably one of the better looking Mario games, in my opinion. And you don't see many frame drops, so they really optimize this game for the Switch very well. Like I said before, music is top tier. And the variety of the levels. So like the Toad levels ended up being some of my favorite levels, because it just added a whole new element of strategy to the game. You don't just go through the same kind of dummy process that you usually go through. You can actually change your strategy up a bit there. So that was fun. So basically where I ended this game off at, I just did the final Bowser fight and then I was done. I haven't really done anything since that. But I
Some of
did
the
play
best
through
content is after that. I will
yeah.
agree. Yeah, I will say that.
So yeah, I still have some progress to go. I haven't 100%ed this game, that's for sure. But I did complete every level I could up to that point. But I do have quite a few cons with this game. Probably some more than you guys do. I gotta reiterate that camera is probably the worst camera I've seen in a 3D Mario game, and that's including Mario 64 and Sunshine. Like
What?
you gotta be on that's a whole new level of bad.
That smells
In my
like
opinion,
cap.
it's a whole new level of bad in my
I
opinion.
will agree for a platforming game. It is one of the worst cameras I've ever like had to deal with for a platforming game. It's really
You
bad.
literally, if you can't move the camera up and down, it locks you to so many different, only a few angles to look at. So you can only go side to side at the camera, and it only lets you go side to side. So you get like 3 or 4 total ways to look at the level, which is terrible because, like Arsenal was talked about earlier, I was trying to judge my jumps, and it was literally impossible because there were times where I would like jump off a seesaw or like a moving platform onto another platform, but Mario would just fucking fly 10 feet away from the other platform because he literally just got diverted because I couldn't see where I was going. It just made the game more frustrating than it needed to be. I really wanted to throw my Switch at times. But also, this is just a typical Mario thing that really wish I don't see in any other Mario games, especially 3D ones. Just the repeating of boss battles. I hate this. Because literally there was a boss battle that I played twice that literally they didn't even increase the difficulty. And it was like 2 worlds later. And then I do another boss fight. There's 2 in a row before you do the final Bowser fight. And they're literally 2 of the same boss battles you did like a world or 2 before. And it's stale. That made it stale to me. It felt too easy to fight some of these bosses. And there was just not much value or like excitement to doing a boss battle like there should be.
And the boss battle, like also the camera affects the boss battles too, because like I remember specifically the one with like where Bowser is on the car and he's throwing bombs at you.
Yes.
Like there's so many times where you feel like you're trying to hit you're in a range to hit the bomb back towards him. But
it flies the ball off to the side, like way to left or right.
Yeah.
That happened to me a bunch.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like the camera's not doing this game any favors.
That's the main thing, is it's so beautiful and we don't get to see all of it because the camera is so fixed.
Yeah, and I also thought the final Bowser fight left a lot to be desired. I did not feel like it alluded to like a badass final boss like I was expecting. I was very dissatisfied at the end of this game. And also just the platforms, to me, I don't know if you guys noticed this too. The platforms also felt slippery. Do you guys know what I mean there? Like where sometimes you'll land, but Mario will keep sliding or running. It doesn't just land.
I think so. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I kind of know what you're talking about.
So just a mixture of all that stuff made the game feel kind of sloppy to play. Like the controls and the dynamics of the game felt a little sloppy to me compared to other 3D Mario games. Like I couldn't control Mario how I really wanted to. And that felt like a problem for me throughout this game. I felt like I died way more than I normally would have, just because the overall controls.
Yeah, like the difficulty felt very artificial at times.
Yeah, and that's the main problem I have with this game. Like, no matter how good the game looks, no matter how good the music is, how good the levels are, if it sucks to control the character and it sucks to operate the fucking game, it takes a huge hit in my book. So those are my main pros and cons.
Yeah, and I think that I want to get you guys' rating on 3D World specifically, just because that and Bowser's Fury like had 2 separate products in my mind. But first I want to give a shout out to the world Bowser. Like that whole carnival like setup in the intro to that final world is like one of the all-time best Mario like moments. Like it's so fucking cool, and the music is so banging on that world, and having the whole carnival theme throughout is so cool. It's a very good way to like put a cherry on the top of the main story, I think.
That world reminded me of like a board from like Mario Party.
Yeah, I thought it was super cool, like how like you get up there and it's all dark, and then like the lights just like come on, and then that jazz music comes on. I'm like, damn, dude, like this is some presentation right here, bro.
I like the animation.
It was one of the most beautiful games on the Switch, to be honest.
Yeah, the
just
tube
with its art style and everything.
The tube going up to that level, like the animation of you like going from the world before to that, where you're going up the rainbow tube, that little cutscene there looked beautiful. Like that, it was just amazing.
Speaking of like one more con that I actually thought of, it was like I do feel also the controls like going off of this can be like janky, like where we were talking about this before in the group chat, where the two mazes essentially, like they do not register your inputs very well.
They do not register your inputs at all.
And when they don't, you die because you hit an obstacle or like a spiked ball. Or like in my instance, I was trying to get it was either a blue or red coin challenge through these tubes. And I literally ran out of time like 15 times in a row because Mario would go the wrong fucking way. Like he wouldn't register my input. And this was in Bowser's Fury actually on this portion. So it
It was a problem in like the
It was a
regular.
problem in both games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah, it
both run off
definitely
the
was.
same. Yeah, they both run off the same engine. It's more of a game engine issue than like a Bowser's Fury or 3D World issue, you know. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
felt like
so-
they could have fixed that very easily just by, you know, timing the inputs better.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's give our ratings for 3D World, and then we'll do Bowser's Fury right after that. So I think first off, I would give this game. I give 3D World itself an 8.5. I really liked it, and I was like in love with it the first time I played it and the second time I played it. I do think though, just like there's like the cons I mentioned earlier just detract from me giving it like a better score, which an 8.5 is still really good for this game, but I feel like there's just a lot of places like the camera and the gauntlet type levels where it just kind of comes up short. And I do like the new power-ups, but I feel like the power-ups they added into the Switch version, like they just added kind of like the power-up where you can like turn Toadette into Princess Peach or some shit. I didn't really ever understand that, and I didn't ever play with Toadette, so I don't have any experience with that. But I feel like they could have done a little more. Now most people didn't play this game obviously because the Wii U was a complete failure, but I feel like they could have added just a little more for people who had already played it. But in general, I'm giving it an 8.5 just because I thought the callbacks to previous Mario games, I like the platforming style and just kind of like the whole visual, like the presentation of the game was really well done, I think. So I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. John, what about you?
Honestly, my only complaint with 3D World is the camera angles. I actually through like past new Super Mario 2D games on the Wii, I played all of those multiplayer, like couch co-op. So I kind of understood like, you know, how the Mario goes about like prioritizing who's going where. But I do understand the criticism there, and I actually probably would add that as a criticism. There were some moments where it didn't actually make sense, but for the most part, I got it. And for the most part, Casey and I didn't have too many issues. One of us would just completely stop if the other one like was trying to go for one of the stars. And it does feel a little wonky at times. I mean, there are moments where I feel like if you could just look up at a bird's eye view of Mario, just if they just added that alone, I think that this game would be that much better. I don't think you need to be able to necessarily look all the way around and every angle possible, but like at least being able to look at Mario from a bird's eye, I think that would add a lot of value to the gameplay, and make a lot of some of the artificial difficulty go away. But besides that, I think this game is incredible. It's what I always wanted out of the 2D Mario. It's what I wanted from that in 3D, and it's so beautiful. The level design is amazing. Like none of it feels stale to me, except for some of the boss fights toward the end of the game. I could see that, especially in the extra worlds, because you do see those same bosses again. But I think it added a lot of different things. And like, if you look at New Super Mario Bros. Wii that came out in like 2009 or 2000, I don't know exactly what year it was, but if you compare that to like New Super Mario Bros. U on the Wii U and the Switch, there's barely any differences between them. They don't add that much, but like 3D Mario or like Super Mario 3D World, I feel like just adds so much compared to what we know and love about Mario from the Wii. And then it came out on the Wii U, and I didn't play it much there, but being able to visit with the game on the Switch, I think it's like the best of Mario that I grew up with personally. So my score might be a little inflated because of that. I never even played Super Mario Galaxy. So I don't have that comparison in my mind. I feel like a cheat Mario fan for not playing Galaxy or Galaxy 2. But I've played Odyssey and Bowser's Fury and 3D World and the 2D Mario games. And I would give Super Mario 3D World a solid 9 by itself. 9 out of 10. What about you, Ursel?
Yeah, so yeah, kind of like building off my complaints of that, like the things I said before, just I think that like it's just so surprising because like it doesn't feel like to the level of polish of like a Odyssey or a Galaxy, like a mainline 3D game, I guess, if you want to say like mainline. I don't like, even though I would say this is probably a mainline 3D game, like with the camera and stuff, because the last thing that you would want from a Mario game is, um, like issues with the controls and the camera and things like that. Like that's the last thing I ever had to worry about with this, with Odyssey or Galaxy or any of the other ones, because the camera worked, like everything was just so fine tuned. So I feel like it loses some of that polish. Um, but I but like in return for that, you have some of the best like level design and variety in levels in gaming. And that's something that's really worth mentioning. And the gameplay when you're not worrying about the camera is fantastic. I also think it's nice how, some all the characters behave a little bit differently and they have different abilities. I played through the whole game as Mario. I don't know about you guys, but
I did
uh,
a little bit of everyone. And I forgot
yeah,
to touch on that. That does add a little bit of extra element.
yeah. Unless there's a level where there was something where I had to be someone else, like Toad or something. But that like I thought that was like another little bit of added flair. But I will say once you beat the game, it's pretty much defaulting to uh defaulting, Jesus, I almost said defarting. uh Defaulting to Rosalina because she does have that double jump that makes the game a lot easier.
Yeah.
So it's Mario and Rosalina for me, but uh and I do appreciate how much content there is after the game ends, how like you can, if you're trying to 100% this game, this can be like a 20 to 30 hour experience. It took me about like 10 hours to beat, like to get all the way to the end of like the star world. Probably the main game itself took me around like 7 to 8 hours, if I would say. Um, but yeah, I really did have my, like, I did have a lot of fun when, like, honestly, like probably 75% of the time. It's just, the co-op I think could have been a lot better done. And I think Mario games in general have a hard, I feel like have a, unless it's like just the strictly side scrolling ones, have a hard time figuring out co-op. Like even in Bowser's Fury or some of the other 3D games, like the second player kind of is doing jack shit, I feel like. But yeah, I think I do enjoy this more than Odyssey in terms of like the moment to moment gameplay because there's so much variety in levels. And it was always a joy to see what was going to come next in the worlds and the levels. But main cons co-op is bad, I think, and I think the camera needs a lot of work, and that camera really affects a lot of other moments in the game. But still, at the end of the day, I think this is a great platformer, like when it's working. And I would probably give it, I would give it like an 8 out of 10.
Alrighty, so we'll go into my rating now. This game probably has the best variety of any Mario game I've played. Just from the world design, from a character standpoint, you can play as 4 different characters. And also, like the final 2 worlds, like the Bowser's Castle and the Bowser World, I felt like were very fun to play. They were difficult at times, but the levels look absolutely beautiful. I love the Toad levels. That those were some of my favorite in the game. Um, I just like how there's variety of like ocean levels, lava levels. Everything that you'd expect in a Mario game. You get the full gauntlet. Um, I just the playing experience for me just did not feel great, and that's really the one thing that really detracts from like I feel like this game could be a lot better for me. Like I could be a much higher rating, but the quality of like the controls and like how Mario feels to like jump with and run with, and those are things that usually in a 3D Mario game that they have fine tuned and feel natural. And this game, it just did not feel natural. It didn't feel like there's much of a flow, like when playing with Mario. So that's a huge detractor for me. Like I had a lot more fun playing Sunshine. I had a lot more fun playing 64. I had more fun playing Odyssey. I think Odyssey is a better game than this, in my opinion. And I also had more fun playing Galaxy. So this, out of all of the 3D platformers, because of how Mario feels and controls, this is my least favorite out of all of them. So I'm going to give this game a 7.5 out of 10. There are a lot of redeemable qualities that I feel like if they just fine-tuned a few things in this game, it could be great. It could be a 9 or a 10 or like close to it for me. Like I love how they implemented all of the new power-ups that they have as well. Like Arcel said, that cat ability is OP. You can really go anywhere in the level with it, which makes it a lot easier to go through. But I also wish you could stack some power-ups as well, more than just 2. I felt like that was something they missed out on, but 7.5 is the highest I can give it. There's just too many issues with the platforming in a platforming game for this to be any higher than that.
Okay, yeah, that was pretty good. So we got an average of 8.25, which I think is pretty on par for how I think that game would go. So on to the last part. So Bowser's Fury is a add-on that they put into the Switch version. It is a very short. I kind of want to say it's almost like a future of 3D Mario demo. It's about 2 to 3 hours. It's very short. I'll give my thoughts on it and maybe just score it because I mean there's not a whole lot to it. I feel like so.
I feel like there's more to talk about with Bowser's Fury than 3D World, honestly.
Yeah. So
no, for real. Like Bowser's Fury is a way more of an interesting game than 3D World. Like there's so much to talk about, and like its level design and what it brings to the table for Mario as a game. Also, just how it incorporates like a time loop, which we've seen is like super, like a really popular idea for games right now. Like, and I think there's just so many more interesting ideas, and I think this is the standout part of the package. Like,
kick us off.
Yeah, go. You take over, Chief.
Yeah. I was ready to talk about this more than like 3D World because I feel like 3D World is like it's a standard Mario experience, but I think like Bowser's Fury really takes the best of the 3D Mario era and distills it into this short, like 3 to 5 hour adventure.
5 for me because apparently I'm bad.
But it can be even more than that, like if you want to 100% it. But first of all, like I want to say start off like this is what I wanted Odyssey to be. Like this fully fledged, you can go anywhere, anytime, like open world experience. It's a small open world, but it's an open world. Where there's still that, like there's the open world nature where you can just go between this entire lake, right? Essentially. But there's also still like the beauty of 3D worlds where there's that variety on hand, where each tower, each shrine has its own little challenges, and there's reason they incentivize you to keep going back to these levels, and they present these levels in completely different ways because you'll finish it, get the shrine, and then you'll come back and there'll be a completely new challenge in the same area that recontextualizes and reutilizes that entire level. So you're not only going back, and that's something that I thought Odyssey was lacking in, where you really just had this one area that I felt like these hubs but I felt like the hubs themselves were really static, where there wasn't that much evolution in those worlds. So when you went back to them, they would start getting stale. But when you go back to areas in Bowser's Fury, I feel like they're always finding a way to keep things fresh and interesting. And then even like the time mechanic, it's awesome how they incorporate it. Like there's different things, there's different platform items that show up in the world. You have to be really cognizant of when you're doing a stage, like looking at the lake and seeing Bowser rise from this rise and being like, oh, he's about to come. Like I need to kind of keep that in the back of my head for how I'm approaching the stage. And like I just want to say, like in terms of like games in general, like this is kind of a tangent, but uh, like this is like one thing that I think is so like awesome about video games is you have this central idea, a time loop, right? And just in the past year or two, we've seen like Bowser's Fury, but like other games like Hades and Deathloop, like how you take this thing of something reoccurring, like this loop happening over and over again, and how different games find ways to take a spin on a simple concept of something repeating over and over again, where this is, the whole world isn't resetting, but it's something you have to be cognizant of in your gameplay loop the entire time, every 10 to 15 minutes. Then like Hades is like a, kind of a gauntlet from start to finish, and Deathloop is kind of like its own beast entirely. Like it's like a detective game, but also like an assassination game. And it was cool to see another game like put a spin on a time loop. But and then also I think like it fixes some of the issues of Odyssey. Like I said, like it gets rid of how stale like revisiting levels can be. But and then also like some fixes some of the cons of 3D world where the camera I don't think is an issue because it's free flowing, and also you can you can hold on to your power ups, which was an issue in 3D world where you could only like hold 2 at a time, but in this one you can hold 5 of each, and you can just use the D-pad to swap between it, which is exactly what they should have done. I feel like in 3D world. Like my only complaints like that I would say are that it is short on the shorter end because it is just an add-on. I wish this was like a full game, and I'm hoping that the next 3D game, like the next 3D Mario game, uses this as a blueprint and makes it fully fledged. And maybe instead of just a lake open world, like it expands out and there's a lake and maybe there's like a desert and a city and it's all in one thing, and you can go between it and ride ride Yoshi or something through these worlds. And I think it's like telling that people say like, oh, this feels like a blueprint for the future of Mario, because it does. It feels super forward thinking for the series. And like I said, my only con is that it's on the shorter end, but for an add-on, it's still really good length. And then the other con I'd say is, and this is like a pet peeve of mine, is I hate in open world games when the game doesn't telegraph you very well that you're about to get locked into the end of the game. I hate when that happens in any open world game. Like I want to have an idea, like it's telegraphing in some way that what I'm about to do is about to lock me into the game, and there's no like I'm in the end game. And this game, like, so there's like cat shrines in this game, which are like the stars or the moons in other games. And once you get to like 45, and you need 50 to beat the game, at 45 it locks you in, and you pretty much have to beat the game at that point. You don't really have a choice, which I didn't love. That's just a pet peeve though. But yeah, like I absolutely like I think this is a lot more of a interesting product than 3D World, honestly, because I think it is very forward thinking and really encapsulating of a lot of the strengths of the 3D Mario generation. But that was me just sucking its dick. What about
no, I mean,
you guys?
I really liked it. I do wish it was longer as well, and I hope it is kind of a blueprint for the future of 3D Mario. Like, because I remember when I first got this game, because I got it maybe the day it came out or very close to it. And when I started playing Bowser's Fury, I told you guys, I was like, dude, this is like Bowser's Fury is like Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild like had a baby, and you guys were like, oh, what?
I feel like I just
like what?
I feel like
do you
I
guys
almost
get what
shrugged
I
it
meant
off
now?
a little bit. Yeah, I do get what you meant now. I think I shrugged it off at first, like, maybe this is Andrew just, he's a big Nintendo fan, and I was like, it's okay, probably. It's probably just like Odyssey. No, I agree. It's totally different.
I mean, it's like it's got the tower mechanics unlocking new areas, just like Breath of the Wild. It's got Bowser being like the Blood Moon, like Breath of the Wild, and it's just one big open area. There's no, you don't have to take the stupid Odyssey ship to like go to the desert, or like all the areas are just in this hub, and it's like a true open world Mario game. And I really liked it, and I thought the boss battle at the end was actually very like imaginative for a Mario game, because I feel like I know like obviously throughout like he comes down and you like fight him at different points, but like the final battle, I thought having to chase him around the lake with the like Giga Max like bells or whatever they were called was super interesting. And I thought that was like it did get a little frustrating, because I was like, God damn it, can Plessy just go like faster? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But I thought it was very, very imaginative. And I also thought like the final scene where you like are just like Plessy is just like huge and just like lands on Bowser in slow motion is like and there's like this angelic ass music like playing while you just like land on top of Bowser is like this funniest fucking thing ever. Like
It really
was like
seemed
this
like
whole-
they took a lot of influence from Breath of the Wild.
yeah, it was really interesting. I think the one con I had is well, one, that it's too short. I wish it was longer, but the other con is just like when Bowser is like shooting the fireballs and everything's falling. I think this game like just stretches the Switch beyond its like capabilities, because the frame rate in that, like when he's doing that, is like complete dog shit, and it's like so frustrating. Like every time Bowser would go up, I'd be like, oh God, here we go. I'm gonna get like fucking vertigo or something, because
I
like
actually
the
only had frame rate
is so
issues.
bad.
I actually only had those kind of issues when I was doing handheld. But when I was on the TV, I didn't really see a whole lot of frame rate issues like that, even when Bowser would come down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean
I don't think I had any frame rate issues.
that's kind of a dumb con, but I mean the frame rate it is just kind of a hardware thing, not the fault of the game. But yeah, I really liked it. I hope that the next Mario game is like this game. So
And I
Yeah.
thought also it was also cool, like when you get the shrines to summon Bowser, like how you get like super big and you're his size. Like I thought those were super dope as well, those moments.
And even when you got hit and you were like the mini Mario, if you got hit a couple of times, you were still giant. Like
Mhm.
I thought it was really cool. Well, I'll just go into my thoughts too then. I thought Bowser's Fury easily could have been its own fully fledged Mario game. And honestly, like besides, I think there's an excess of the Bowser attacks a little bit. I thought there were moments where I'm like, okay, come on. Like, I'm just trying to do this blue coin thing, and I keep getting interrupted by Bowser freaking out in the background. But besides that happening a little too often, I think this is the best 3D Mario experience that I've had easily.
Besides Galaxy, yeah, I would agree.
And I haven't, man, I need to play Galaxy, I guess, because I guess it's the benchmark of it's like the benchmark of Mario games, it sounds like. But in my opinion, this is the best 3D Mario experience. But like I said, I haven't played Mario Galaxy. I think this game is so beautifully done. And although it like I feel like it does struggle with its camera a little bit, in the sense that I actually wish that the camera would kind of help me out in some ways, like because you control the camera, whereas 3D Mario, it's more locked into place. 3D Super Mario 3D World, it's more locked into place. This, you can do whatever you want with it. But I actually found moments where I kind of, I'm just into the platforming so much that I forget that I can move the camera. And that's probably just a fault of my own, but I kind of wish it would like steer you back in the right direction here and there. Like, I feel like a lot of over the shoulder shooter games and stuff on other consoles will kind of like guide you back if the camera is like, if you turned a certain way, it'll guide you back if you're walking one way. But this doesn't really do that. Um, so besides like a little bit of my own gripe with the camera, maybe other people don't feel that way. I don't know if you guys felt that way, but I think this is what Mario Odyssey should have been. Like this makes me really excited to see what they have in store for the next 3D Mario game. It looks amazing. I'm really surprised what they were able to do with the graphics on this, considering it is like an actual open world and everything's like larger than life. Like Bowser takes up a damn tenth of the map himself, and then like you go huge and you're hopping on uh the obstacles and the platforming that you would go through when you're small, and you're just like hopping completely over it. It was really cool to see that like size comparison. Visually it looks amazing. Again, I'm really like surprised to see how the Switch was able to handle it, because I didn't really have a lot of frame rate issues myself. um and honestly, seeing like a huge Mario in his cat ability, it never got old. Like this game is so charming. um and I the fact that you could hold on to like 25 power-ups, like you have 5 groups but you could hold on to 25 total, was legit, and that should be in every Mario game. um I would definitely argue that Bowser's Fury is better than Odyssey, even by itself. Like if they were to just package this as a $60 game by itself without 3D World, I think it's still better. Like if you were to 100% this, it would probably take a good like 10 to 15 hours, which I think is pretty normal for a Mario game.
I don't know if it's
Um,
$60. Like if you can speed through the main game in like 3 hours, 3 to
I
4
mean,
hours.
shoot. Well, I thought the main game was like 5 hours, but like obviously the shrines are gonna get, or the shines are gonna get a lot harder as you go on. So like the length of time is gonna be extended to at least 10. And
Yeah.
shit, Mario or Metroid Dread is 7 hours. 10
Yeah.
if you're a completionist. So like in my opinion, this is on that level. Um,
Fair, fair.
and a criticism that I think is worth mentioning, like every Mario 3D Mario game, I feel like has its like gimmick. Like Odyssey had Cappy, which is like Cappy was amazing. But I didn't find myself utilizing Bowser Jr. really much at all. I thought like
I forgot about him.
I found myself ignoring him most of the time. But besides that, I think this is some of the best of the best. It could be longer, but it was an add-on. They could have easily packaged this as its own $60 game. And I think they could have packaged 3D World as its own $60 game, like they did Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. That is a crime to be $60 when these two packaged together are the same price. But what did you think, Parker?
Bowser's Fury was the most redeemable part of this game because I pretty much played it right after I finished the main line story. So I was just like, I didn't have much expectations for Bowser's Fury because I thought it was just like a mini game, to be honest. But once I got into it, holy shit. I think this is the first open world Mario I've really ever seen. Every other 3D Mario game is just like has hub worlds. It doesn't necessarily have like a full open world. It really felt like Breath of the Wild, but with Mario controlling everything. Like with Bowser coming in, like towards the very end, right before you get your 50 shines, Bowser literally fucks up the entire universe until you get your 50th shine. And that just adds some more realism and makes it a lot more fun and like suspenseful. I didn't think I'd get so much out of Bowser's Fury, but it felt like to me it felt like Breath of the Wild mixed with I'd say Mario Sunshine. I had a little Sunshine vibes from this actually, just with all the beach vibes and stuff. But I had a lot of fun playing this. Other than that tube part where I was doing the blue coin challenge, and couldn't control it. But I didn't think the camera was necessarily an issue in Bowser's Fury, because you could actually rotate it 360 for the most part. So I didn't see too many problems with the camera. It still had some of the controlling issues from the 3D world. Like Mario was still kind of slippery when landing on objects. Jumping still seemed to be a problem, like jumping in the right spot. But I overall, I wish this were a full-fledged game, like a full, like if they could expand on that world and make it its own mainline game, I think it would be the best out of all the 3D Mario platformers. Like this is a concept that they really need to build upon and run with, because I felt like Odyssey cramped you too much in the same areas for too long. And in Bowser's Fury, you could realistically do it in any order you want. You could start out in like a completely different area than somebody else. You could take a completely different trajectory to the end of the game. So that's just something that other Mario games have lacked in the past. And I thought Bowser's Fury did a really great job of executing that. I hope they use it for inspiration for future Mario games.
Can we talk about who at Nintendo is a fucking furry? Who's just obsessed with...
It's Miyamoto, bro.
Dude, there's like somebody with a cat fetish over there. Like they love cats.
Yeah, this game was all about cats.
I swear.
Yeah, everything is cat themed. Like in this and 3D world, I'm like, what is going on? Like, why cats? Like,
cats
like I
are
like
the gimmick.
cats, but like,
yes,
like such
Cats
a weird
are
thing.
in, bro. Cats are totally in.
Cats
bro.
are so in.
Cats are
Furry
in, but yeah,
Mario.
I thought it was an interesting concept to build around cats. Like
Cats.
Cats, the movie. Cats. I hope this is the main plot line of the movie. That everyone is just dressed up as a cat. Yeah, I don't want them to make it animated. I want it to be
Chris
live
Cat.
action. Yeah,
Chris
I wanna
Pratt
be-
as a cat.
Yeah, I want to see live action Chris Pratt dressed up as a cat. I want to see Anya Taylor-Joy as a cat.
Pratt in the hat.
Yeah, I want to see Jack Black as a cat. Everyone just has a cat.
I'm surprised we didn't see Bowser as a cat in this.
Wasn't he? I thought at one point.
No,
No,
I don't
he's
think he did. No, I don't think so. We saw Plessy as a cat. We saw Mario as a cat.
Wasn't?
but
Oh
we
wait,
didn't
no.
see Bowser as a cat.
Bowser was a cat in 3D world at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
But
You're
thank
That's what I
God
was
they
thinking
omitted that eyesore out of the Bowser's Fury to save it.
I don't know. I was looking at Bowser like, you go make me do something. I'm gonna regret.
Jesus Christ. All right, so on
Like
that
Bowser,
note,
Bowser
God.
looking a little, Bowser looking a little thick.
Oh,
I think we got to keep
God.
that. I think we got to keep that audio clip. I think that's got to be saved.
I like
Bowser about to make Arsenal act up.
Yeah. Like, damn, why you acting like looking like that, Shoddy?
Yeah. So, anyways, after that horny moment by Arsenal,
Oh,
you-
God.
let's I want our ratings on this. I'm gonna give this a flat 9. I think this shit was better than 3D World, even though it was very short, and I hope the next game builds on it. And I honestly probably will go to 100% Bowser's Fury, because after you beat the main 50, there are 50 more that you can collect. So I think I'm gonna go for the full 100, because I just want more. I want an excuse to just keep playing Bowser's Fury because it's so good, man. So I would give this a solid 9, and I'm assuming we'll all kind of be on the same page. But John, what are you gonna give it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely gonna go back and 100% this, and I'll be interested to see what my playtime is, because I'm a prideful bastard and I don't like to Google anything if I don't have to. It's like a last resort. So I feel like this could easily hit like 10 to 12 hours for me. But apparently I'm not that great at platforming, because the main game took me 5 hours when it took these guys like 3. So I thought I felt like it was more of a fully fledged game in my opinion when I played it. And I actually did kind of have a good separation between 3D World and Bowser's Fury. And at the end of the day, I don't think these are even in the same league. To me, 3D World, although it's a 3D Mario game, it's more in the realm of the 2D side-scrolling Mario games. I would categorize it in that realm, and that's kind of how I gave my rating. And I think it's some of the best of that realm of Mario games. Now, if we're talking truly 3D Mario games, I think this would more compare to like Odyssey and like Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario 64. But it does what we've always wanted in a 3D Mario game, and what we've wanted since Odyssey is a fully open world. And it is a small open world. And I don't think that's a complaint, to be honest. I think it does it really well. And for the type of game it is, being a platformer, I mean, it doesn't need to be giant, in my opinion. But what they did really well. And I think what they did honestly perfect. I would give Bowser's Fury probably a 9.5. Really, my only complaint with it is that I don't really care about Bowser Jr. at all. And he's supposed to be like your partner in crime throughout the whole story. And I mean, I used him to unlock some of the mystery items around the map, and that was pretty much it. But I don't think that he was at all star of the show. It was definitely Mario and Bowser. And this needs to be the future of Mario. And if they make a bigger open world that's like 50 hours of platforming, that could easily be a masterpiece and the best of the best when it comes to Mario. But I still think this is a solid 9.5 for me. So as a package, I guess that would be 9.25. But if we did round it up, it would almost be a 9.5 as a package. I love this game. I've already put almost 30 hours into it, and I'll probably put another 20 between 3D World and Bowser's Fury, potentially. So I'm 100%er. And this one is fun enough that I want to. But what about you, maybe Parker?
I was highly impressed with Bowser's Fury. I thought this concept is something that we need to see more of. Oh my god, excuse the voice crack. Yikes. But
Oh, my allergies have been terrible today.
yeah, but honestly, I love the open world that they put in. I love that it's an ocean, like vacation-y vibe. That's my favorite setting you could do for an open world because there's so much you can do with it. And there's like a good mix of experiences you can have with it. Like you can completely have a different track than somebody else. Like you could have a whole different 50 shines than somebody else does before you beat it, right? So I'm gonna have to give this a 9, a flat 9 out of 10. I just want to see an expanded version of this. Let's see. My really only complaint is still kind of the main issues with the game engine that 3D World carries over to this. It's really nothing to do with Bowser's Fury itself. Just like the jumping and the landing and the inability to control your movements while traveling through pipes and stuff that carries over. But everything else felt really nice about Bowser's Fury, and I was on a binge. Like I was on a roll playing Bowser's Fury. I had a lot of fun. And I think I'm going to try to 100% this because I absolutely love these kinds of games where they're open world and you get a chance to explore it all. And I like these big collectathons as well, where you can kind of brag how much you have to your friends. Like, I got
satisfying,
this many.
Dude.
Yeah, it feels fun. It's very fun. So I Bowser's Fury 2. I don't know.
Bowser's Fury 2.
But
Maybe.
I guess I could get in from there. Yeah, it's crazy how for something that feels more like a proof of concept, right? That's what how forward thinking this feels like for the Mario franchise. And like I said, it feels really like a distillation of everything that makes 3D Mario amazing. And I think it really does the time loop concept in an interesting way, applies it well to the mechanics of Mario. And I love the, like, same as you, Parker. I love the setting. I love the colors, like same as 3D World. I love the variety in each of the worlds. And yeah, my only con really is that I wish it was longer. I wish that they had, like, kind of maybe held off on adding this onto 3D World and had the patience to maybe really incubate it into its own fully fledged release. Because I think
How
if they
is New
really
Super Mario Bros. U a $60 title and this is? I don't get that. Nintendo makes no sense. Sorry.
That shit is a 2-pack of ass.
and but like I would have, like, and I think, yeah, like John, I agree with you. Like, if say the main game took me 3 hours, right? Like, they just had to honestly just double, I feel like, the amount of content, maybe make it 100 stars to win, and 200 for like a full completionist run.
Right.
Maybe kept this like another year, in like a year and a half, in the incubator. And I would have loved to have seen this as a full game. And then my other only con is I feel like it doesn't really telegraph putting you into the end, but that's just a nitpick. Like, I always like saving the completion of the story as the final thing I'm doing in an open world game, because I feel like I lose a lot of my motivation after that end goal is kind of gone. But that's a and extremely. I hope it's not Odyssey 2. I hope it's Fury 2. Or I hope Odyssey 2 takes from Bowser's Fury. Excited to like Furious franchise is going to go from, because Bowser's Fury is extremely optimistic. And if this was, and if this was a fully length game, this would have been like a 10 out of 10 for me. But I'm going to end up giving it a 9.5.
Dang. I'm actually surprised you did rate it that high, Ursel.
Yeah, I loved it. Like, I had a smile on my face the whole time. Like, it was fantastic.
It's so satisfying.
Yeah.
All right. So
Are you
that
gonna
gives us-
100% this, Ursel? Are you gonna go back and try and 100% it?
I wish I honestly could, but I don't. Like, so I don't know if people know this, but I use GameFly, and I GameFlyed this game like a month back. So I don't actually have the game anymore, but I wish I could. It was just I kind of fell off of it after I had beaten it, because, like I said, I really need to save that finish of the story for the last thing, because a lot of my motivation in games will drop off after that. But no, I wanna, like, I wish I could go back 100% it, like, with us
Real
talking about it.
quick, I want to say I'm pissed. I'm pissed about how Nintendo marketed this, because they marketed it as 3D World. Oh, plus Bowser's Fury. We're going to give you a little bit of extra content. No, Bowser's Fury is fantastic. And if you're a Mario fan, you'd be cheating yourself not to play this game. And I hate that Nintendo didn't market it well, because they didn't market it as, what it is. You can hardly tell from the trailers what it is. You just see a giant cat Mario, and you're like, okay. Like, that's all it shows. I don't know. Nintendo, even when they do a good thing, they drop the bag in some way. That's just the story at the end of the day. But
So that probably,
Andrew, do you have all the average scores?
Yeah, so the average for us for this was 9.25. So I feel like that
as
is
a package.
Well, no, let me
split it up.
I split it up.
Bowser's Fury is 9.25.
Yeah, our
well, if you just
3D World was 8.25, so
8.75.
Yeah,
I
ish.
think that's an 8.75 average.
Yeah, because it would add 0.5. So 8.75 for the package, pretty good. Nintendo did something good, even though it was just a Wii U port plus a little side game.
But hey, the best part
that's
was,
how it was advertised, plus a little side game.
But hey, the best part was the new part.
Yeah,
So,
very impressive. So, well, that is our review of 3D World and Bowser's Fury. If you haven't played it, I would highly recommend it. And I think that wraps up our episode for today. So, thanks everybody for listening. If you haven't played this game, please go get it. Other than that, this is Andrew signing off.
Yeah,
highly recommend it.
Yeah, definitely check it out. And next week we'll be back with Game of Squids, Squid Game. Like,
Game of
watch it
Squids.
if you haven't watched already, watch it because there's a lot to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah, as you know, we always do spoilers in our podcast, so you'll have to watch Squid Game before you listen. And just
Yes.
like you should play the games and watch everything before you listen to our reviews, but we like to get all encompassing. This is
Yeah.
John signing off. Thanks,
Yeah,
everyone.
Urso signing off. Thanks, guys.